Welcome to Peak Oil News for May 6th, 2022. Our first story, are domestic natural gas prices about to explode? The U.S. has been the key provider to increasing natural gas outputs across the globe. Throughout 2021, the U.S. increased its total exports of natural gas by almost 50%, reaching 67 million tons. This put the U.S. as the third largest LNG exporter last year, beaten out only by Australia and Qatar. Increased liquefaction and delivery infrastructure helped lead to this increase, with 5 liquefaction projects coming online since 2020. Asia bought most of this new LNG, followed by Europe and then Latin America. Trends indicate that Europe will take the top position as buyer of U.S. LNG this year because of the disruptions in Ukraine. The sudden gush of U.S. LNG exports has led several experts to conclude that domestic prices for natural gas are due for a massive shock towards the upside. The major factor is that there is a large price gradient between European gas prices and U.S. domestic prices. Price in both Europe and Asia stand at about $30, while domestic U.S. prices are about $7.50. U.S. insulation from the gas crisis gripping Europe long before the conflict in Ukraine occurred, were allegedly caused by the unique structure of the U.S. gas market. In essence, the U.S. market was designed to accept gas, but not to send it out. All the terminals were for receiving, so once gas arrived here or was extracted here, it was here to stay, like a one-way trap door. The only exception was a small pipeline to Mexico. However, the 6 new LNG facilities that have recently come online, with the 7th almost completed, have changed all that. And in a few short years, the U.S. has become a massive exporter of LNG, linking us to the foreign markets we had been sheltered from. Despite this change, we still see that U.S. gas has so far remained cheaper than gas around the world. Allegedly, this is because the United States is still structurally overproducing gas. However, analysts warn that 50% of the gas creating this oversupply is coming from just 3 fields, and that 2 of these fields appear to be entering the plateau phase of production. This means that just as the U.S. is more connected to the global natural gas market and more exposed to its price pressure and competition, its fields are about to cease increased production, a recipe for booming prices. And according to the analyst, this price shift could occur within the next 6 months. As a matter of fairness, it should also be stated that not everyone agrees with this prediction regarding the plateau, and some analysts believe the 2 fields could continue to increase production of gas for years to come. I suppose the market will tell us who is right soon enough. News out of the EU. The list of countries wanting exemption from the embargo of Russian oil grows. The EU has continued to press forward with plans to embargo Russian oil. In order to get Hungary and Slovakia on board, they have offered a 2-year exemption to those countries. And now it looks like the Czech Republic will also want to have an exemption as well. However, despite these assurances to hesitant states, Hungary at least does not think the exemptions go far enough. Hungary's foreign minister said on a Facebook video that such small exemptions would obliterate his country's energy security. He went on to state that Hungary could only agree to such an embargo if crude oil that was carried through pipelines were exempt from the embargo. Hungary and Slovakia are both dependent on the Druzhba oil pipeline for their energy. It should be noted that allowing for such an exemption would make the already difficult task of embargo enforcement even more difficult. Oil, for most intents and purposes, is fungible, so it is difficult to tell where it comes from, and people in the industry already see a future where tankers are filled out in the sea with illegal Russian crude and then claim to be from somewhere else when they get to port. Having a few countries with unfettered access to Russian oil would allow them to resell it through legal or illegal means, particularly if there was a lot of market incentive to do so. And with no end in sight to energy scarcity and rising prices, you can bet incentives will be there. Carbon capture draws opposition. And here is a story I wanted to include because it seemed like a sign of the times. Advocacy groups are now working on closing down a pipeline that is designed to capture carbon dioxide. The pipeline is being built in Iowa next to the interstate system and is designed to capture and store CO2 produced during the creation of ethanol. This group of people are closely associated with the protests over the Dakota pipeline back in 2016. The group states concerns over potential lost farmland and potential ruptures of the pipeline. However, ethanol is both a green and renewable energy, at least according to Obama, so you have to wonder what the fuck these people are complaining about. And unlike the Dakota pipeline, this CO2 pipeline does not go through or over tribal lands. According to Summit Carbon Solutions, the project developer, the pipeline will allow for the creation of ethanol in a way that will bring about net zero emissions for this transportation fuel to Iowa's 31 ethanol plants, while also creating thousands of jobs and being able to store 12 million tons of carbon each year safely. Well, peak oil theorists have long concerned about hysteria overtaking the population in the midst of a prolonged energy crisis. Seems like to me we are seeing it here. Anxious and nervous energy propels people to chase their own shadows. That's it for today, folks. See you tomorrow.